Good morning, my dear children. In the previous lesson, we had discussed about human capital formation in India and India's mission by 2030-32 to become a 10 trillion economy. So, for the overall development of the economy, it is a must that rural areas are developed. This chapter covers the major issues associated with rural development, the role of credit, marketing system, importance of diversification, significance of organic farming in sustainable development. The future of India lies in its villages is rightly said by Mahatma Gandhi. So, once the villages develop, the country also develops. What is rural development? There is no use in developing urban areas alone by setting up of many industries, good hospitals, good educational institutions, etc. It is the need of the hour to develop the rural areas. Rural development essentially focuses on action for the development of areas that are lagging behind in the village economy. So let us discuss which are the areas that are lagging behind. So in rural areas, we need to develop the areas like education, health of the people, drinking water, proper drinking water should be provided. Drinking water supply, sanitation, employment opportunities, infrastructure, so linked with roadways, railways, etc. So all these areas to be developed. Only if all these areas are developed, we can expect for a better quality of life of people in villages. So this will raise the quality of life of the villagers. You know very well that two-thirds of the people live in rural areas and they depend on agriculture. So, to remove poverty, rural areas should be developed. Now, let us see the key areas or challenges faced by the rural area, the people or the area. The first one is development of human resources. So this human resources should be strong, it should be of high level human capital. So this we can expect when there are good schools and hospitals. So education as well as health. Only then we'll have high level of human capital such that these human resources are used properly. The next is the development of productive resources. Sometimes the resources are not utilized properly. The resource can be like the mineral resource. So if these resources are not used properly, not utilized properly, then how can the area be developed? So the government takes steps to see that these resources are used properly and whether it is productive. So the available resources in the rural areas should become productive resource. When can this become productive? When it is utilized properly. The next is the infrastructure development. So all the physical infrastructure development like transport, water, electricity, that is power supply, storage facilities, etc. All this comes under infrastructure development. The next is emphasizing access to productive employment opportunities. You know, there's a gap between sowing and harvesting. So when you harvest, only then you will get realization of cash. Now this gap to be filled, there's a gap like there might be 6 months gap. During this period, the farmer doesn't have any employment. In such case, government can provide some employment to the farmer who is without any work and who doesn't have money, who is below poverty line. Like we have the poverty alleviation schemes like M. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. MNREGA. It means Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. When this act is passed, people in rural areas are given 100 days of work. So 100 days might be 3 months, around 3 to 4 months they have some job. So at least one person from that family goes for a job that will help them to get some money, earn some money. So that is how we can make the productive employment opportunities. The next one is provision of adequate credit. So farmer needs credit. At the time when he has planned to sow seeds, he needs money to buy seeds. Then as the plants are growing, he needs fertilizers. Then he needs pesticides. And then if he wants to buy some farm implements, that is machines or any tools. So all those are farm implements. So for all this, what is that he needs? He needs credit. So adequate credit facilities to be provided, particularly by the formal organizations. Improvement in agricultural marketing. So it is not that once the cultivation is over, once the crops are harvested, the farmer is very happy. It is not like that. Once it is harvested, these crops should be taken to a market. And this market, if it is nearby and if it's a regulated market, the farmer is happy because he gets a reasonable price for his produce. So there should be improvement in agricultural marketing facilities which takes care of the overall development of a farmer. The next is the provision of health facilities. So proper medical care. So proper medical care, some research facilities, everything should be there in rural areas so that the people get free service. The next one is improving standard of living. So how can this standard of living be improved? Only when he gets some employment. So only when he earns some amount, he gets some satisfaction and he can improve the standard of living. So government also gives some help by setting up of some job opportunities for the people, and then as I told you, some launching some schemes, and they can also start. They also launch some schemes like Prime Minister's Rozgar Yojana. So through that, some self-employment is given to the people who belong to the farming community, and so their standard of living can be improved. And the last one is providing opportunities for education. So schools, opening up of schools, opening up of government schools. And even here, the government has to take care properly whether the teachers are ready to teach the students properly. It's not that opening up of schools, everything is over. The teachers should train the children. So all the opportunities for education, like not only elementary education but also tertiary education, to be imparted to the children in rural areas. So all these areas, once there is improvement, this will help for rural development as a whole. Growth of rural economy depends on capital. From where does this farmer gets capital? He needs to get credit facilities. He needs money. He needs to invest to buy seeds, fertilizers, and sometimes machinery, or sometimes an additional plot of land. So all such expenditure he has to meet with. So proper credit facilities should be provided to the farmer. Now, credit facilities in rural areas are of two types. One is institutional and the other one is non-institutional credit. So, the first one, institutional credit. Under institutional credit, we have the commercial banks, development banks, and cooperative banks. All these banks come under the government sector, under the public sector. So obviously, it aims for the welfare of the people. So it will provide credit at reasonable rates of interest or low rate of interest. Whereas the non-institutional credit is given by the money lenders. The money lenders provide such credit. Money lenders or traders or sometimes relatives and friends too. Here, credit is provided at a high rate of interest, and sometimes it goes to the extent of exploitation of the farmers too. Now, there are twofold problems of credit, rural credit. So, as I discussed earlier, the institutional and non institutional, all the institutional credit is provided by the formal organizations or the commercial banks or the organizations that come under the government. So when you see this institutional credit, so what are the problems that farmers face due to institutional credit? Let us discuss that. There are less in number, only less number of banks are set up in rural areas, and so they don't have easy accessibility. And moreover, these institutional organizations or the banks, they ask for collateral. Collateral. So it's a security when banks give or lend money to the farmers. So these farmers are unaware of this and they find it very difficult to access with these banks. Whereas non-institutional sources of credit also, through these through these institutions also, the farmers face problems. So one is charging high rate of high rate of interest, as I told you in the previous slide, and follows corrupt practices. So in such case, what happens? These farmers are trapped. You call it as debt trap. They collect high rate of interest and they exploit the farmer, and the farmer is in debt trap. And these money lenders, they may, if they are the owners of the land, what they do is they make these poor and marginal farmers to work in their land, toil in their land, and for their work, not a penny is given to the person, because they have to repay the amount. So finally, what happens? The farmers go to the extent of even committing suicide because they are in debt trap. So the only alternate way is to approach institutional credit organizations, so that the rate of interest would be low and the farmer could lead a happy life without being trapped in debt. Now let us see the types of loans in cooperatives. So there are different types of loans in cooperatives. That is the credit provided to the farmers. So three types of loans I've mentioned here: the short-term loans, medium-term, and long period loans. These short-term loans, it stretches up to a period of 15 months. So this 15 months, within 15 months, the farmer has to repay the amount. So in small installments, he might repay the amount within 15 months. And these short-term loans are provided to the farmer to buy seeds, fertilizers, small equipments, even for his own family expenditure. He can use it for his family expenses, like if he wants to pay fees for his children or for any medical expenditure. So all such family expenditure is also met using this short-term loan. So it stretches for 15 months. The next one is the medium-term loans. This ranges between 15 months to 5 years. It means more than 1 year. So 1 year to 5 years. And this loan amount is used by the farmer to buy machinery, or sometimes he might fence his plot. So for fencing his land. So or for digging a well. So the amount will be less compared to long period loans. So this amount is used for all such purpose, like for buying machinery, or for fencing his land, or even for digging a well. And next is the long period loans. This stretches above 5 years. So more than 5 years, if he takes to repay the loan amount, and this will be for purchasing land, new additional land if he's purchasing. He needs more amount for all this. Purchasing new land, or sometimes if he wants to buy a tractor. So all such tractors, if it is going to be a second-hand tractor, he might get only term loan. If it is going to be a new one, which is more rate, then he has to get only long-term loans. So all such expenditure he can meet with, and accordingly he'll get loan from those cooperatives or from the banks.